Petroheads, this is the Mazda MX-30 GT Sport Tech, and it is the top of the line offerings for Mazda's first ever EV. And I think it's the cutest SUV that I have ever seen. It's just so compact and it looks great. However, what does Mazda have to offer in this ever-growing market? Let's take a look at the spec. The MX-30 GT Sport Tech is a compact SUV that seats 5. Its signature suicide doors make getting in and out the back incredibly simple. The base level first edition comes in at $27,995 with OLEV grant. The GT Sport Tech pricing starts from £30,045 with a light grey cloth interior trim and stone artificial leather like this one here. If you go for dark grey interior and brown artificial leather, then that comes in at £31,545. With the higher price, you get a bit more bang for your buck. The GT Sport Tech includes extras such as a front wiper de-icer, a power and tilt sunroof, heated steering wheel, and 12-speaker Bose surround sound. And a 360-degree viewing point on the infotainment screen. As you can see here, we have the Mazda's signature Soul Red crystal paint, which makes it pop. The car has a 341-litre boot space, a top speed of 87 miles per hour or 140 kilometers, and a 0 to 62 in 9.7 seconds. It's got 145 brake horsepower and 271 Newton meters of torque. You may already know that here she is, right on cue. She's always there before me, but she has a great point. Please do make sure to like and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, because it really helps us. Okay, go away you, back to our video. So like I was saying, you may already know that this car here has a pretty teensy 35.5 kilowatt hour battery, which delivers about 124 miles of range dependent on various factors. But as the old saying goes, it's not just about size, it's what you do with it. By opting for a smaller, lighter battery, that in turn leaves a smaller CO2 footprint, as manufacturing batteries is the most energy-intensive part of building an EV. And that means the MX-30 will surpass the carbon footprint of the combustion engine much sooner than a rangier EV would. Not only is the smaller battery a more environmentally friendly choice, but it's also a time saver. Less capacity means quicker charging times. With a 50 kilowatt charger, a pretty standard power output at most service stations, you can charge from 20 to 80% in just 36 minutes. So when you do need to take a longer journey, a short stop at the services is all you need. But in reality, this car was built for the average urban get-around. Because when you think about it, the average mileage driven per day in the UK is about 20 miles, and in the US, it's about 30 miles. So when you start to think about it, this car is actually perfect for the local commutes and also the odd occasion out-of-town trip with careful planning. Come to think it's actually very similar to the Dacia Spring or Dacia, however you say it. However, this car is nearly double the price when you do add on a few extras. Rich does go into more detail about the Spring being mainly introduced as a ride share, and you can find out more by clicking the link above. And it got me thinking, surely the MX-30 is a perfect offering for city shares. The iconic Citroën Ami is a brilliant example of what the future of city get-arounds could look like. Now confirmed to be officially launching in the UK in 2022. It's small, compact, and a great A to B vehicle, especially for the younger generation, which I really get into in this video right here. You can check it out by clicking the link above. But what if you've got a couple of sprogs that you need to cart around? This quadricycle is not an option. You need something bigger for the school runs and weekly family food shops. Cue the MX-30. Just a bit like a zip car, you'd book it out for when you need it, use it for an hour or so, use it maybe to go shopping or to go pick up the kids, and then when you're done with it, park it back in its spot, plug it in, juice it up, ready for the next punter to come along. As the population continues to swell in our cities, space is becoming ever harder to find and we just can't accommodate any more cars. We are already at a maximum capacity. So whilst the idea of loaning what we need when we need is an alien concept, it's looking increasingly like the solution. Shared ownership has been a tricky pill for us to swallow. Own nothing and be happy is a phrase that has sent shivers down a lot of people's spines. We as a society have become accustomed to buying what we want, and when we're done with it, sell it on or scrap it and buy a newer version. But this kind of consumption is a hell of a lot more wasteful and it's eating up our resources. Shifting to a shared ownership model or adopting ride sharing puts less pressure on mining companies and manufacturers for supply and demand. Less cars equals less CO2 produced from mass production, resulting in more space in the city for things like trees, fewer vehicles, and an all-round happier place to live. And we've come full circle to Mazda's environmentally friendly motives. Mazda know that we as a people love the comfort of having a car that can go the distance when required. So, Mazda have come up with a solution, well, in the US at least. Introducing to you the Mazda MX-30 Elite Access Loaner Program. MX-30 owners can loan any other Mazda for up to 10 days per year for the first 3 years of ownership. Now, this is free, but however, like I said, it is just in the US, but it does mean that if you do need a car to get you further, there is one available. Problem is, as you've probably guessed it, all those long-range cars are gas guzzlers, which isn't ideal, but it is better to be using an ICE car for 10 days of the year and then an EV for the rest of the year, rather than, say, buying an ICE outright and continuously burning fossil fuels. So, for those of you who want to know a little bit more about this car in particular, I think we should go for a drive. I'm really impressed with the feel of this car. So, the car itself is much lighter than usual because of its lighter battery, which does mean that it just has much better handling. The battery itself is positioned quite low, which means that it has a lower center of gravity, which means that it doesn't roll as much when you're going around corners. And then there's the size of the car itself. It's such a teensy little SUV, which is just perfect for getting it around the city and specifically for parking. Next up, I want to talk about the ICE sound emulator that's been fitted into this car. So when I speed up, you're going to hear this. Can you hear that? So that is the sound of the engine RPM that is being emulated. I think just Mazda have done this to make it more familiar for those first-time EV drivers. The Mazda MX-30 does come with one pedal drive like most EVs, and you can see whether or not you're getting regen on the regen gauge down here. Now, you can adjust the strength of one pedal drive by using the 2 paddles on the back of the steering wheel. You can increase the strength or you can decrease it, so it's more of a free rolling car. Although you might not be using the car for long distance journeys, comfort is still a big thing, and I have to say, the seats in the front anyway are very, very comfortable. Now when you get in the back, it does look like there isn't much space, but it really isn't as bad as you think. I'm 5'10", and I was sitting in the back quite comfortably, and the suicide doors, which are a great feature, actually I think it's one of my favourite features of this car actually, does really help for you getting in and out of the car. It's actually perfect, say if you're a mum and you have a baby seat and being able to adjust it, those suicide doors are fantastic for that. Mazda have made it very clear that safety is paramount, and I'm going to run you through a few features that feature in the GT Sport tech. So first off, great visibility front and back. You have blind spot monitoring, just in case you don't see somebody coming along. Nice little orange triangle flashes up for you. You have adaptive cruise control. You also have emergency lane keeping with road keep assist, and also smart braking for pedestrians. A few things that I love about the interior are, well, for example, the seats. They have vegan leather. Great, not harming any cows. Some of the interior is made with recycled plastic bottles. Again, big tick from me. And also just the quality itself. It doesn't look like it's all recycled. It looks quite expensive actually. Talking of expensive, this floating console right here looks so cool. I mean, that was the first thing that actually caught my attention when I first looked in this car. It just makes the car look just that little extra bit more expensive. And also, I'm a little bit old school. I love buttons and dials, stuff that is tactile. You can feel the clicks and the movement. So that, again, that's a big tick from me. Sorry, Tesla and the iPad. So, what do I think of the car? Well, overall, for a first try, Mazda have done a fantastic job. Like I've said, it's a great car to drive. It's fantastic for families, for those local get-arounds. The smaller battery is perfect for that with the quicker charge times. If you have the luxury, it is a fantastic second car option, but like I've said, I think this is a great car which could be used for ride sharing, so hopefully we'll see it on our streets soon. All right guys, well thank you so much for watching. Please do make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already, because it really does help the channel, and come back for more content just like this. See you soon.